You know, we usually romanticize chemistry between two people, like sparks fly, and we just assume it's this organic, uncontrollable magic.
Yeah, exactly. That's the myth, right? That if a connection is strong enough, the environment around you doesn't even matter.
But when you actually look at the psychology of interpersonal dynamics in today's source document, which is a fascinating guide simply called Text, that magic starts to look a lot more like a carefully wired circuit. Welcome
Yeah.
to your custom deep dive.
It's a very pragmatic way to look at it, honestly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Setting a physical environment is really like directing a movie. I mean, if you do it right, the room itself does the heavy lifting for your connection.
Right, and any good director knows that the most crucial work happens before the camera even rolls. The source material is so adamant about what it calls a zero-friction setup.
Zero friction, like
Of-
making sure the engine is running before starting the car.
Exactly. Because nothing shatters tension faster than fumbling for logistics. Imagine the moment is building, and someone suddenly has to stop to hunt for a phone charger or, a towel or a glass of water.
Oh, the spell just dies instantly.
It completely dies.
It reminds me of a chef's mise en place. You know, if you're in the middle of a delicate reduction and have to walk away to rummage through the pantry for salt, you've lost the heat, the dish is ruined.
That is a perfect analogy. That preparation has to be entirely invisible. Everything you might need just has to be within arm's reach before you even cross the threshold.
Right.
But preserving that heat isn't just about grabbing a glass of water without looking. Once those physical objects are sorted, your brain immediately starts processing the visual space.
Which is interesting because logically, I would think the ultimate intimate setting is just pitch black, completely removing all visual distractions.
A lot of people think that.
Right. But the text argues strongly against that. It pushes for dim, warm amber lighting or low-set LEDs instead. Wait, why not just turn the lights off entirely?
Well, there is a very specific reason for that. If you go pitch black, you end up creating what the text calls a lack of read.
A lack of read.
Yeah, because in a highly charged environment, partners rely heavily on nonverbal cues. If you're in the dark, you are literally flying blind.
Oh, wow. So it's not actually about setting a romantic mood. It's about gathering data.
It is entirely about data.
Yeah.
Warm, low lighting allows you to see vital signs, like eyes dilating, a chest rising or falling.
Which tells you they're into it.
Exactly. It
Yes.
gives you the feedback you need to know everything is okay without making the other person feel like they're sitting under an interrogation lamp.
That makes so much sense.
Right. It saves you from having to awkwardly break the tension to ask, hey, are you okay?
Yes, exactly. You can just naturally read the room. Okay, so if we need that visual data to feel secure, what happens with sound? Here's where it gets really interesting. Does pure silence actually force people to act unnaturally?
It absolutely does. Because nature abhors a vacuum, and so does human interaction. When there's just dead silence in a charged room, people feel this overwhelming, almost crushing pressure to fill the void.
Wait, so they start talking just to break the silence?
Worse, they start performing. Because they feel put on the spot, they end up relying on performative, almost cheesy novel dialogue.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they act out what they think they should sound like in that scenario.
That sounds agonizing, honestly.
It is, and it pulls them completely out of the moment. But by grounding the room with a steady sonic anchor, like a low-tempo playlist or brown noise, you remove that pressure to perform a script.
Because the audio fills the void.
Exactly. It allows the individuals to stay present and focus squarely on physical sensations.
Okay, so the room is prepped, the lighting gives us the nonverbal reads we need, the sound stops our brains from overthinking, but the document spends a lot of time on what happens after the intense part of the experience ends.
Right, the landing.
Yeah, they call it the aftercare station.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the way an experience ends really dictates how it is remembered. You need to have a comfortable blanket, a specific drink, or just planned immediate proximity ready to go.
To prevent what they call the cold switch, right?
Yes, the cold switch.
That jarring feeling when a really intense connection suddenly just drops off a cliff.
Exactly. Especially for a new or maybe a more vanilla partner, that abrupt drop feels incredibly disorienting. It can even feel alienating.
So having that station ready softens the blow.
It does. Having a planned soft landing signals that the intense phase has concluded, but the natural connection between the two of you continues.
It makes the transition feel safe rather than like a sudden abandonment.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Well, it means that genuine chemistry isn't just spontaneous. It requires deliberate architecture.
A lot of behind-the-scenes work.
Right. By managing logistics to create zero friction, using amber lighting for nonverbal reads, setting audio anchors to stop performative talking, and preparing that soft landing, you are actively protecting the shared experience.
You're building a container that allows the connection to thrive.
Which leaves us with a pretty wild thought to chew on. If deliberate lighting and a little brown noise can so deeply dictate our most private interpersonal dynamics, how much of our everyday behavior is being subtly manipulated by the ambient environments we blindly walk into every single day?